thought I'd give you an update, a 2023 update to the Audiophilia reference system, the one that I'm lucky to listen to every day. Changed a little bit compared to 2022. I'll link that one in the description below in case you want to see what's different. What I'd like to do is just talk generally about how we listen here at Audiophilia and some of the specifics. And then I'm going to give you a little tour with some up-close and personal stuff and the pricing and what I think. All the equipment has been reviewed at Audiophilia, and I'll also link all those reviews in the description below. If you look at the system the way it's set up, it's a very expensive system. I've been very fortunate over the years, and I've worked a lot in the industry, but also as a professional musician, and built this system up over many, many years. I've been an audiophile for about 45 years. I started just before I met my wife. She had a great system, way better than mine, Marantz and some good speakers, etc., and a turntable. And we kind of developed our system together, starting with a dual turntable, and I think it was an Onkyo integrated amplifier. My reasoning for saying this is because when some of you are looking at this and you're young and you're just getting into the avocation, or if you've been at it a while, some of this stuff just seems completely out of reach. And it is for many people. I'm very lucky that I've been doing Audiophilia for nearly 30 years. And in those 30 years, we built up a big clientele of advertisers and connections in the industry. And I've been very fortunate to have many, many people want to have reviews in Audiophilia, not just with me, but with a very happy team, because I think they know they get a fair shake with Audiophilia. We don't lie, we don't shill. Buying an ad in no way guarantees a good review. We've been very fortunate also to get a lot of fantastic equipment. So very few have been negative. Trust me, when there is a negative comment, manufacturers comment on that very clearly. They don't like them, and I understand why, but that's the nature of the business. You've asked the question, you have to get the answer. So some of these pieces I purchased myself, and some of these pieces have been in for review for quite a while. Some are on what they call long-term loan, which is a very nice perk of the industry. We don't own them, we don't keep them, we don't sell them, but we are in a very fortunate position that myself and the team do get to play with a lot of great equipment, and some of it gets to stay in our system for quite a while. With that in mind, let's take a tour of the gear. It's been curated so it matches very, very well. There are 3 ways of listening. I'll begin with my 3rd way of listening, which is streaming, and that's new to the system this year. And that's quite a complex system. And then we have CDs. I still collect CDs. I threw them all away for a while and realized what a complete idiot. Of course, there's a lot of CDs being reissued, and of course they've grown in price since people have started discovering them again. But I have a very fine CD player, and we'll talk about that one. And then, of course, my beloved vinyl, which I love more than anything, and I consider myself a collector. And I have 2 systems, one for stereo and one for mono. Yep, extravagant, yes. But, you know, like I said, 30 years of experience, and I've been very, very fortunate. So without further ado, let's talk about the individual equipment. Beginning with my streaming setup, I've been very fortunate that Audio Group Denmark, our friends in Aalborg, Denmark, who manufacture Arvik acoustics and Ansys acoustics and Borison loudspeakers, sent over some boxes for review. These are 2 of them, and this is part of the streaming setup. Begins at the top box that says Coax 1. That's the input that it's on. This is the Arvik Acoustics D280 digital analog converter, and it retails for 10,000 euros. Not cheap, beautifully made. This is the mid-range, the 280 level. You can also come in at the 180 level, which is significantly cheaper. I've not heard that. And also go up to the 580 level, which I've heard is insanely good. I've not heard that either. But the 280 was a wonderful DAC. And you can read my review linked below. And just below that, with the ready on the TFT display, is the Arvik Acoustics S280 network music player, basically a streamer. This again is in the 280 level. I've not heard the 180 level. and I've not heard the 580 level, but the 280 is a wonderful streamer, beautifully made, retails for 10,000 euros. And between the two of them, they do a beautiful job. I think Audio Group Denmark's philosophy is to get it. Their prime listening is with vinyl, and they know that streaming can't really get to vinyl, but they were a little upset with their streaming quality about 5 or 6 years ago. So they upped their game, and they got it to what they consider is better than CD. Now, I contest that my CD player is so good that they sound similar. Streaming is still, though, my number 3. But there's a couple of things you have to add, I think, in streaming, and I've talked about it on a recent streaming post, and I'll link that also below, are the accompanying boxes and cables, and we'll talk about those in a second. Accompanying those two wonderful boxes, the DAC and the streamer, below it, the small one, is the Ansys Acoustics Power Switch D2. That is a network switch. I was using a $100 network switch from Best Buy, and it was fine. It did the job. But I was told by Lars Christensen, my friend, head of Audio Group Denmark, that these make a huge difference. They put a lot of time and effort and research into this box. It's not cheap, 5,360 euros for a network switch, a real luxury. But it does a wonderful job. There's no doubting it improves the sound significantly. Anyway, that is a wonderful box, and that is where you put in the Ethernet cables. And I'm very lucky to have 3 very fine cables, the Ansys Acoustics D2 Ethernet cable. And when I talk about cables, I'll put the prices up underneath so you'll be able to see them. The review is not up there yet. It's going to be on Audiophilia on July 7th. So you can have a read and see what you think. Many people, again, think this is snake oil and you don't need any kind of, bits of bits and digits of digits. But I'm telling you, I hear a big difference. One of the most important components, of course, is power conditioning. We've got pretty good power here in Victoria. Just a few brownouts, the power's pretty clean. In Toronto and New York, I really needed a good power conditioner and had one and used AudioQuest, and I love them, the AudioQuest Niagara series. I've done 2 reviews at Audiophilia. You should read them. They are wonderful, and I highly recommend them. But again, the folks in Denmark sent me what they consider to be the best power conditioner. They call it the power distributor. This is the Ansys Acoustics Mains 8 C2 power distributor. They have like 5 or 6 tiers, like they do with most of their equipment. This one is mid-tier, but it's still 5,000 euros, quite expensive. And now to the heart of my system. This is the MBL N51 integrated amplifier, and it retails for a whopping $17,600. It's actually the midline, if you could believe it, of the MBL line. MBL is the German company in Berlin, designed and owned by Jürgen Ries. Is a total genius, makes incredible equipment, and I'm sure you've heard their radial Strala speakers. So this is from the Noble line, the midline. There is a Corona line, which is, quote, entry level, unquote, then the reference line, which I've not heard. But this is $17,600 and is a magnificent achievement in high-end audio. The build quality is the best I've seen. I think when we got the 2 boxes out, massive boxes coming from Germany, I think my wife went, wow, like they're just exquisitely made. And it sounds equally good as it looks. Yes, it has a lot of inputs and does a lot of things beautifully well, but it also has a bypass, so sometimes I throw in my Allnick Audio L8500 OTL OCL preamplifier, which retails for $13,500, which is a gorgeous 2 preamp from Korea, designed by Kangsu Park. And that makes my system not so much better, but different, because the preamp section in this N51 is equally spectacular in a different way. Next up is the MBL N31 CD DAC, and you can see it's the same line as the N51. This is the Noble line, mid-range line. Nothing mid-range about it. It's an exceptional CD player, by far the most musical CD player I've ever heard. And it's also just a standard Redbook CD. Jürgen Ries does not like the SACD drives and the noise it brings and lots of other things you can read on a white paper on his site at mbl.com. But for standard Redbook CDs, I mean, the sound is just exquisite. I can place SACDs on here and do. no problem, reads them perfectly in the second layer, but the sound of the standard CD and SACD is so beautifully musical and so undigital-like that I've fallen in love with this machine. Again, typical of MVL, it is not cheap. This is $15,400. The CD by itself is superb. It also has an incredibly good DAC associated with it. And the look and the feel and the build quality is the same as the N51. It's just exquisite, and it sounds as good as it looks. And as I get more into CDs and review more CDs for you guys at Audiophilia, I'm using it lots and lots and loving it every day. Now to vinyl, and this is my Phasmation E350 phono amplifier. The phono stage, and as they say, it's a jack of all trades, but I think it's a master of all of them. I needed a phono stage, very specific requirements. What I needed specifically was something that would do mono and stereo. And here I've got stereo and 2 mono curves. It also has a mono switch, which I think is very, very important. It has 3 inputs, 2 of them are XLR. I just use the RCAs, and I'm just using 2 inputs. It's got a low filter, which sometimes comes in handy, but I don't use it that often. And it's even got a degauss switch, which is amazing. So it's basically a Swiss Army knife of phono stages, and it sounds exquisite, $6,100 US. Now on to 2 of the lights of my life, my 2 turntables. The one on the left is the Bergman Magna turntable with the Bergman Magna arm, and the one on the right is the Pure Fidelity Harmony turntable. It comes with an acoustic signature TD1000 arm, amazing arm. The Bergman runs about $13,900, I think it is, US, and like I said, the Pure Fidelity Harmony is about $10,000 US. And I think that's with that arm or an Origin Live arm, which is also very good. The Harmony turntable has been upgraded with ISO acoustics feet, and it's made a big difference. So it's wonderful, wonderful support for the turntable. So the cartridges. On the left for my stereo is the Phasmation PP2000. Runs $7,000 US. A magnificent cartridge. Audiophilia was the first to review them. On the right, on the Harmony turntable, is my mono cartridge, true mono cartridge. This is the Miyajima Labs Infinity monaural phono cartridge. About $3,500, something around there, and I'll link it, the review below. It's about the best mono cartridge you're going to find. It's just superb. And now to another exceptional product that I am very fortunate to be able to use. These are not mine, these are on loan. They are the Michael Borison, or I should say Borison Acoustics 01 Silver Supreme Edition loudspeakers. And they are a very, very expensive, $55,000 a pair. And the stands, which are proprietary and essential, will run you another $5,500. As I said, these are designed by Michael Borison, who I consider a genius. His gear for ANSYS, a lot of the accessories and the cables, and his AVIC components are just spectacular. And this is over 10 years since Lars and Michael left their previous company, and they've built just an exceptional company. They've got 40 employees, they're building superb stuff, and it's getting better all the time. They sent me these speakers to listen to, and I was overwhelmed. I love monitor stand mount speakers more than anything. In my fairly small room, the bass is not massively important, although these speakers do have very good bass. But they were so incredibly musical, and the essential nature of every artist I listened to came through the speakers, and that is a rarity. In fact, I've heard some of the greatest speakers in the world and greatest stand mounts, and these better them considerably. And you don't want to buy your Mercedes, and you want to buy a pair of speakers instead. Please make sure you hear these speakers in a quiet room playing music that you love, and I can assure you, you're going to have the most musical experience. It does everything a high-end, brilliant speaker does. I mean, the ribbon tweeter gets the pristine highs, the mid-range is gorgeous and deep, the soundstage imaging. The bass is very good. I think it goes down to 50 hertz, but it does go lower than that. This is the Ansys C2 cable. They come in quite a few levels. This one is fairly expensive. I'll link it the review below. You can read about the loom that I get to use. I have C2 and D2, which is even more expensive, but they are absolutely wonderful cables from Ansys Acoustics. You can see they're not Python-esque, so you can move them behind your system. In addition to the C2 loom that I have, I also get to use the ZL technology cables from Olnick. These are the Olnick Audio MU7R XLR cable, and they retail for about $2,300 a pair. Wonderful cables. When I use XLR, these are the ones that I use. And finally, one of the accessories that I use, this is also from Ansys Acoustics. These are the Darks Resonance Control, DARKZ. This is the steel version. There's 3 or 4 different versions. Again, they're not cheap, and they use titanium ball bearings for the connection. And you can see the way they look. They're beautifully made. You need 4 per component, so it's not cheap. But they're very effective, and I'm lucky enough to have those courtesy of Ansys Acoustics. So that's it for 2023. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, I highly recommend all this equipment. Again, much of it is very expensive. But if you get a chance to listen to them at least, I think you'll really enjoy yourselves. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.